pricing strategy. So Emily, you would help us ensure that the operating margins are as per our internal standards, and I will work with you to clearly understand how we can focus on the right pricing and take this to market. David, on your side, I would request your help to identifying the key customers, existing customers, and prospects that we can target for this purpose. And then once we have that list, I'll work with Sarah to make sure that we create a very, very targeted messaging for those customers. So this is the overall next steps that we are looking at. And I am excited to take this product Secure Start to market, and your role would be pivotal in ensuring that we launch this at time and with quality and with the right value proposition to our customers. With that, I will conclude our kickoff and pause here to request your feedback or any input that you might have to better optimize our execution plan. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today for Secure Start Project Kickoff. Today I will be covering more about this project, why we are doing this, what is this project all about, and how we plan to execute this. So that is the agenda for today's meeting. As you can see, I'll be looking into the overall project overview, who are the teams involved, and clear guidelines on who does what, how do we plan to execute this over a 12-week plan, and some potential risk that we have identified and how we can use our internal collaboration framework to effectively execute this project. So I'll start with why we are looking into this project called Secure Start, which by the way is focused on offering a end-to-end security solution. So we looked at the market through our business consulting firm, and we saw that a lot of the competitors are either looking at serving large organizations, or they are offering very, very niche solutions for small businesses. The mid-market organizations are currently underserved, and with growing threat of cybersecurity, this particular segment of customers do not have a clear solution or tools for them to execute. They also face with a lot of limited resources. When we looked deeper into the financials of this opportunity, and they looked really strong. So both the business consulting group along with senior executive, we have decided to take this opportunity forward, build a solution IP for this opportunity, and take it to market as soon as we can, given that there are very few providers who today serve this particular opportunity. So this really is the why and the crux of why we are doing this now. And in 1 year's time, we hope that this will generate new revenue pipeline for us and also strengthen our competitive position in the market. So now that I have addressed the why, let's look into what this project is all about. As I mentioned, mid-market organizations want a very simple end-to-end security solution that will allow them to quickly deploy the solution and then manage it going forward. So keeping that in mind, keeping the limited resources that these organizations typically have, we are looking at this concept called Secure Start, which will be a very end-to-end, simple, deployable solution with leading IP of security that we sell today, wrapped with some managed services that we can offer. So business goal, as I mentioned, is to generate new line of revenue as well as strengthen our position in the market. Some of the key target segments that we are looking at are healthcare, retail, and manufacturing. This not only aligns with the market opportunity, but it also aligns with the type of customers that we have traditionally served in the past. So that gives us an edge to talk about our success stories in the past. And because the market timing is everything with this concept and this opportunity, we are really getting aggressive on how quickly we can take this to market. Looking at the quick overview, I'll quickly also highlight what the success metrics will look like. So as I mentioned, time is essence. So we'll be focusing on a 12-week launch. Our hope is to secure at least 3 pilot customers. This will not only help us generate the revenue stream that we are looking at, but also give us feedback necessary to continuously improve this solution going forward. Of course, the other key success metric that we would look into is positive user experience and CSAT score. And with that, the idea is to really enable mid-market organizations with a safe and secure environment that does not require a lot of IT talent or resources to maintain after deployment. Now that I have talked about why we are doing this and what is the project all about, let's talk about how we want to implement this. This is where I have laid out clear accountability and scope of work for each of the stakeholders present today. So starting with engineering team, this will be led by Rohan. He will help build, test, integrate, and check quality of the security IP. And as he works on that, as he translates those technical capabilities to customer value proposition, that's where Sarah will come in with her marketing expertise and help us create very, very specific go-to-market strategy and messaging for customer profiles that we are targeting. Business development, led by David, would focus on taking this solution to the market. This would mean enabling his team, his sales team, to take this to market and identify prospects either in his existing customer account or some targeted prospects list, where we can think about those 3 key customers that we want to target and we want to deploy this solution as pilot. And last but not least, the business operations analyst, Emily. So as Rohan is working on the IP, Sarah is looking into the overall marketing strategy. One of the key factors of taking this to the market would be the operational part of it. So Emily will help us focus on pricing strategy based on the deployment model that Rohan comes up with. What would that revenue model look like? Would it be recurring? How often? How much would it focus on a certain usage matrix? All those things. So based on Rohan's input, Emily will help us create a pricing model, help us optimize our costing, and look into the operational readiness of this launch. And to support all of you, I will be looking into all the I will be facilitating the collaboration from project management side by focusing on the key deliverables, milestones, timely budgetary approvals, and so forth. So this is the overall team structure that we will be following. Each of you are very, very critical to the launch of this product. And so it is important for all of us to be aligned on how this collaboration will be laid out in the upcoming weeks. So for that, I have laid out this 12-week project timeline. So as I mentioned, we'll first begin by planning and scoping. Today we are kicking off the project, but I'll work individually with Rohan, Sarah, David, and Emily to further define your scope of work. And as we lock in the scope of work and Rohan and team starts to build out the technical IP, Sarah, I will need your help to specifically understand how Rohan's team is planning to bring value to to the customers. So that would become your basis of creating that customer persona, what specific messaging we can use, which channels we can engage them with, we can engage them in, and so forth. And Emily, as Rohan thinks about the overall IP, the idea would be to understand what would it look like from customer usage perspective and use that to create a very thorough pricing model. And with that, we will take this to David's team for sales enablement and for taking it to customer. So that's where all the different collaterals created by Sarah will be leveraged, and we will be taking it to our pilot customers. And in week 12 will be all about validating the quality of things and taking this to the market. So this is a quick high-level rundown of how we are planning to execute it. Now, of course, as I mentioned, each one of you have key role to play, and there are very, very clear dependencies among all the different teams that I highlighted. And so I have here highlighted all the critical milestones that we are hoping to achieve along with the dependencies. So one, as the scope is approved, that's where very clearly Rohan will start working on the technical requirement document, the key components required for the solution, the managed services required to bundle it up. And then Sarah, you would start working with Rohan to understand what are the specific business outcomes your customers would be able to achieve through this IP. And you will start creating the marketing collateral, you will start creating the go-to-market strategy. Emily would then work on the operational processes, and then David, I'll work with you to start enabling your team to get a clear understanding of both what the value we are hoping to provide to our customers and what the technical specifications of this product would include. So we will have both Sarah, Rohan support the enablement that you will have with your team, and then finally we will be ready to launch this project. Now, of course, as I talk about dependencies, we should have some understanding of what that collaboration would look like. So what I would propose is that we meet on weekly syncs to really make sure, one, we are clearly aligned on what our roles are. Second, we are aligned on the goals we want to achieve at weekly level. And if there are any blockers or challenges, we proactively identify and mitigate them. So very clearly, I will share all the documents with individual stakeholders present today. I would also work with you to further flush out the details of your scope of work, and then we would work slowly on a very specific plan for each of the stakeholder teams present today. Now, there are certain risks that we have identified at a high level. There may be some potential build delays on engineering side. There may be some messaging misalignment on marketing. There might be some pricing and cost optimization that we might require. But in order to mitigate that, that's why I mentioned from the very first day, both Sarah would have conversations with Rohan and Emily to make sure that all the three key components, the engineering piece, the marketing piece, and pricing, are very well aligned. The pricing piece, Emily, I would really like your help to help us guide through optimizing the costing piece, because the more we are able to optimize the cost, the better margins we hit. The more better margins we are able to hit, the more easily we'll get our approvals from senior leadership. So this is the reason why all the teams are involved from day one, and going forward we will be meeting at a weekly basis to ensure all the execution piece is running smoothly. With that, here is how I foresee the next immediate steps. This is very much open to your to your suggestion, to your feedback. I would really appreciate everybody's input as I conclude this walkthrough to best optimize our 12-week plan. So the next immediate steps would be stakeholder alignment. So post this kickoff, I'll meet with individual stakeholder teams to, one, flush out the scope of work, second, to clearly lay out what execution plan would look like for individual teams, third, talk about budget and resources to implement this. Engineering kickoff, this will be Rohan will be driving this. He would bring together his engineering team to focus on building out the IP and bundling it with services. He would collaborate with services business practice to ensure that both the teams are in sync to take this to market. Sarah, you would be looking into the marketing brief. You will be driving it. I will support you to identify the key resources required, any budgetary approvals that you might require, and then if you can provide me with a high-level go-to-market plan, I can support you on the logistics side of budgetary approvals, deadlines, milestones, all those things. Pricing strategy,